had to put my glasses on before I even started. Because as soon as I sat in this chair, I started thinking about current events and I had nothing nice to say. So I was like, how about I log out of Aisha the Human for a moment and then I can do my job efficiently. So we're in Aquarius season and we just had a new moon. New moon is fresh seeds being planted, right? In Aquarius. I don't know what degree though. That always matters because it tells you who it's going to affect the most or where it's going to affect in your chart. So new moon in Aquarius 2025. It's always so hard to find the degree because a lot of websites will tell you like exactly what time and what sign and quadrant and all that stuff. I'm like, I need the degree. That's like the sneaky info. Like when something's at the 11th degree, it's about to hit us all. Now, this is an Aquarius degree, so it's going to hit us all anyway. But this is at the ninth degree of Aquarius. The ninth degree is a Sagittarius degree. So, forward vision, just think about things that are going to be propelled. I feel completely different, but this last week I've been feeling like in a wonderful but strange way. Like I'm way more chill. And it's interesting because this is not particularly a time where you would think one needed to be chill. I've gotten whatever will be, will be. Maybe these are the effects of the other stuff that I've been doing like every morning, finally seeping in. Like, doesn't it take 21 days for something to become a habit or something to change in your design fully? Like, you have to force yourself to do something for a while, but then after that, it turns into something that automatically happens. So that seems like maybe that would be creating a new, yeah, like my little pathway. So the ninth degree is Sagittarius. I'm trying to feel what this would mean for people because it's trips, like foreign trips, higher education, travel, like spiritual travel. This could have planted seeds for future events. And this would play out between Leo season and Sag season at the end of the year. Maybe your dreams were prophetic last night. If you have any planets at the ninth degree already, they automatically caught a big dose of this. Mm, something's different, but it's like underneath the surface. Waiting to break through is what I heard though. So I got the, and I'm gonna do today's reading a little different. I'm gonna pull one card and see what comes off of that one card is the message. And we'll see what happens after that. But I'm supposed to be pulling the card as the theme. I like how myself gives myself fun assignments. Myself also gave me like, and I needed some bobby pins. Like my relationship with my higher self has gotten better. I guess that's what I would say if anything has changed. I hate that I don't have bobby pins, but myself clearly had a bank of ideas that I knew nothing about regarding hair. Like I'm always drawn to updos, but I didn't know that I had the skill set to do them. But clearly in one of my other lives, I did hair or something. But listening to myself, give myself my own advice, because I didn't used to take my advice. I used to be very reliant on outside opinions. I have an Aquarius moon in seventh. When you have planets in the seventh house, you usually rely on other people a lot to reflect stuff back to you because you can't really see things in that house. uh, when you have an Aquarius moon, you had to adapt to the people that you were around. Like they were different types of people in your childhood. So you sort of took on a, I don't want to say detached stance, but a very logical approach to emotions and connections with other people. So my thing was not showing anybody any part of me that I know wasn't in alignment with their beliefs or anything. I thought that was like a way to not offend somebody. But no, that's code switching. So now, and I believe this happens with everyone, there comes a maturation period where you start to step into your actual energy and accept yourself as you are. Individuation is what I just heard. And I think that's some psychological stuff, fairly sure. Because I hung out with myself this week when I didn't want to get over here and talk about the thoughts that were going through my head, not because they were dark, but like my humor is wild, y'all. I don't want to offend anybody. So sometimes I just sit by myself and I cackle and I have a blast with me. I was like, oh my gosh, I am such a weirdo. But like that was just the idea that was like implanted in my head early on because my sense of humor, it's like when things get super dark everywhere else, I shine. Like I can see the humor in the darkest situations. And I believe that's because according to what I have found out since I started this spiritual journey, I've spent most of my existence in the dark places. I think it was a trauma loop, but then after a while, I just wanted to stay there because it was more comfortable. So I think this is my first life deciding to come back. When you're on the other side, uh, after you gain a certain amount of power, and you gain power by like doing lives and making a name for yourself. So the more you make advancements or get points like Mario going throughout the game, the more you can do when you're back on the other side of the veil, right? When you get up there in like OG points, which of course you're gonna rack if you're just hanging out hiding in the dark depths of hell for years, you get the ability to use the bodies of the NPCs. This is how like a random farmer from Ohio becomes like this super talented dancer and singer out of nowhere. Like we didn't even know he could do that when he was younger. That was wild. But it's because this person was just like hiding somewhere in NPC mode and bigger entity decided to say, hey, wake that body up. I'd like to use that for something. Wild things that y'all need to know because we are in an Aquarius moon and Aquarius season. It is my belief, my theory, based upon my research and doing all these charts all the time, y'all, that people that got Aquarius placements, planets in the 11th house, planets conjunct Uranus, or planets at the 11th or 23rd degree are in some way, shape, or form clones or the avatars. Like if you have any placements there, there's a part of you that can be like logged into or was always designed to be logged into. I love this season because you can talk about all your theories too. Like not everything is grounded. Some stuff you have to wait for it to come down. I know all the time. I'll be like, does this work like this? Now I find out like, nah, but the way it worked out, that's sort of smooth. Like I be thinking about it too much. It's way simpler. And some of this stuff appears. I'm like, so are we in a simulation? How does this work? Reading everything I can read to understand that we are inside of a song, inside of a symphony. We are frequencies. And let's see if I can get y'all a message. Because keep in mind, when I say I'm just over there cackling or hanging out, is leading me. And most of the time I'm learning something. But there's only so much stuff you can learn, especially when it's about the nature of your reality. Before you just like, this is wild. You gotta laugh at everything, or you'll be down. It's a lot of information to take in, and I am very thankful for all the parts of me that I used to be very unhappy about or that I wished would be different so I would blend in more. I don't want to blend. I just want to be me. Whatever that means for me, wherever that takes me. I just want to chill. And oh my gosh, I take a lot. Like I got stuff going on for my personal uh mysteries. I got stuff for the page. Maybe I should just like I can't look it up again because it was like one of those epiphanies, one of those strokes of genius that came through. And I was like, that is super cool. I can share this though. So guys, I told y'all I was having a hissy fit one day, and I told y'all on here, I was like, you know what? I don't want to come back a soft person in the next life. I don't want to come back a pushover. I'm gonna come back like Cruella de Vil if I'm balancing things out, right? Be careful what you say, the power of your tongue. It's not gonna wait to the next life. Manifestation doesn't say, oh, let me put this in the queue. No. A good example I have of this. I always have a dream about like a certain house. Ever since I saw the movie Original Sin, Antonio Banderas has this house in there. That's always like what I had in my mind for myself. I just want to put it like across seas, right? But it has a courtyard in the middle. You can hear the birds all the time, and there's like a body of water nearby. Like I really have to be near water in some shape or form. I did not think I was going to find a house within my budget in Georgia with that. But for the last two places where I've had my own place, I end up near a body of water where I can hear the birds or they walk around freely. Manifestation doesn't care about the future. It's like, oh, you said you wanted to try this out. Well, let me start guiding you. 211 brought home a lighter, y'all. It's a Dalmatian. So what does that mean? I cannot just say I want to be Cruella next time because that means in this life, I'm going to take a new trajectory towards the behavior of somebody who is even that focused. And in that moment, what I thought is I'm just going to focus on taking back my power and doing my work. Like my work will be a reflection of my power. But clearly, that is not the right road to go. So you have to be careful what you're manifesting for yourself, also, just as a tidbit. You always get a sign about which direction you are heading, and you will start to see things manifest in your reality, especially when you're about to make a jump. When you're about to make a timeline jump, and this is just you switching storyline mid-story because you woke up in the middle of a video game and realized you can hop to a different world. Pretty much. Think like Earth 626, Earth 717, similar storylines, but slight twist and stuff, right? So when you're moving into a new one, everything is going to fall over, just start slowly crumbling in this reality, but you're going to see signs everywhere. Like if you've been manifestation marriage, you're going to start seeing wedding rings, you're going to start seeing dresses and things that you're not necessarily looking up. You'll see them in real life. It's because your mind is starting to attune to that reality where it is possible for you. In this case, I started seeing different lake houses and stuff, but I did not think they were in my range until one popped up and I was able to go after it. You destroy a lot of your manifestation sometimes by ignoring yourself trying to tell you stuff. Like mine, when she was trying to explain, like you can do different updos as protective styles. Because everybody I grew up around, because I used to try to do this to my hair when I was younger, told me I'd look like a lunch lady, or they'd be like, Aisha, you can't wear your hair like that all the time. Those are wedding hairstyles. But I just like having my hair up unless I'm like in my personal like zone. I believe that your hair is your antenna. This is your crown. This is like literally this area up in here, like where babies have their soft spot, is where your reception between you and source is. So even like people who wear braids and stuff are doing like certain patterns for protection and stuff. I believe that's where it started. But I just feel better when it's up and like safe. Become one of those everything is spiritual people, but everything is spiritual when we're literally in the middle of like a spiritual war. If y'all could see what it looked like outside, it'd be like pandemonium. So 2:20 on the clock. Let's see what the theme for today's message will be. Honey has been on my radar a lot. All honey, everything. Like bath soap. It's in the food. It's starting to line up everywhere. And I'm like, honey is attraction. So, I'm always trying to put y'all on the ways to notice your own power or what the universe is trying to tell you. And the card I got, just so you know, is the heart chakra. Like one card. Ooh. What does the heart want to say? Gotta go old school. Typically, like I like to get a focal point. Like you have to turn yourself into an antenna. Like this is me being extra, but usually, like, and I've been doing it my whole life. I didn't notice I'll start doing like this, and that looks like, but whatever. I'm just narrowing in on what I'm hearing. I was explaining that we were in a song. It's a tragic love song. So, like, the world's heart is broken. The heart chakra for the earth. All right, we're going on a voyage, guys. I thought we were about to go to my Google thing so I could pull up the pictures I already had saved, but it looks like before, but I don't have to go through my gallery where I'm like, hold on. I'm dealing with murder mysteries right now, not even cold cases. I can't be showing my hand. So let me turn to the first thing. I explained recently that I was starting to question the nature of our reality. And by that, I mean, I wanted to understand how we are an algorithm, how we work. If I'm hearing that we are trapped in a sad love song, how is that possible, right? So, got magnetics, frequency waves. And then I was told to look up light waves and sound waves. And it was suddenly like an understanding that these different waves combined with a density is what gives us these bodies, or the way the light hits. It's like we're an optical illusion. And we feel through the chakra system. Like outside of here, it doesn't exist. Your sacral is actually your pain center, the one that allows you to feel. And now I'm hearing that each chakra aligns with the senses. So the chakra system is so that you can actually participate in the reality like a VR experience. We need to fix the world's love song. Which one of these senses would be love and feeling? Do all of them together create love? Like when you find something that checks off all of those boxes, that is love. And guys, I guess we're having a learn with me. Thought I was doing a channel message, but this is different. I rock with it. Starting to trust me a lot more. Oh my gosh, I just looked up there. I look like a school teacher. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. I think Posh Spice and Scary Spice were my favorites. That's so much about my personality. So I need to understand the heart thing. And I feel like I know exactly where I need to go. So Ascension Glossary has all the tea, but the gag is you gotta know what you're looking for when you come on here. Otherwise the search won't take you anywhere. I guess like that's their encryption thing. And I feel better now because look, it has at least some things you can sort of click over here. When I first started on here, it was like you had to know somebody who knew somebody who could give you a link in and then you can click some shit. So we need to go into Inky, guys. The thing, all right. Inky is the same as Loki, as Pan, as the snake. And I was trying to ignore that my internal dialogue was telling me that this being the year of the snake means more than what is the assumption, and what is written is actually what I heard. Like some things were left out. I guess that's the same thing as Valentine's Day being actually a pagan holiday known as Lupercalia. It was actually like the sex and orgy weekend that they participated in order to make sure there were like enough Scorpios and Sagittarius is born. So do what you will with that information. Christmas is really called Saturnalia. That's a rabbit hole for you also. So sorry, there's some hoodratry going on outside. So the light bearer, Mr. Morningstar, Mr. World, all of that same persona. He is a many-faced god. So he changes his name all the time. And he has been bound in some ways. When they say he fell to earth, he was just bound to the liminal space. He exists in the lower 5-dimensional, which is like next to us. It's just like an overlay on earth. So they can mingle in between us and we don't see them, but they can see us. A good example of this would be City of Angels, just to understand. Like those were the watchers that guy was representing. No, that is the best example. Because the other one I was going to use was Insidious and the Further, but that's horrifying. It ain't got to be horrifying like that. It's just an invisible realm where different types of entities, good or malignant, exist, right? But that thing I was telling you guys about being able to jump through the NPC people, who y'all think got the most clout on this planet? If we were talking about soul points for being here a certain length of time and making a name for yourself, and keep in mind, every life you live, if you make a name for yourself, that just adds on. It's like the winner's board or highest scoreboard. And that means the next life you end up like still playing off of that karma, positive or negative. That can go many different ways, right? So it's a million different people from one day to the next. I was having that freaking bittersweet symphony stuck in my head. Oh, there's one of the moments again. It's my Raven moment. I was hearing that we're stuck in a sad song, but the song is Bittersweet Symphony. And one of the songs written by the Inky character whose name I just gave y'all a million of, y'all can figure that out on your own, as the song that he's trapped us in, or that we're all a part of because it's his song. Every time I tap into this energy, I immediately like, I hope y'all have seen American Horror Story Murder House. Ooh, that just made me want to rewatch it. But you have to see Murder House if you have not seen Murder House. Like, what are you doing? American Horror Story. Come to it. It's important for this storyline. So the character Tate, he offed himself after he shot up the school. So he was bound to the house where he committed the act. Or did he get, no, he got shot up by the cops. He did not off his, but that's off yourself by police. There's so many ways that conversation could go. So he purposely just like let himself get lit up. He didn't want to exist no more, but he was stuck in the house. But he can see everything and everybody else that's going on when he wants to be seen. But the only person he wants to be seen by is this other girl who's stuck in the house because she offed herself. So they're just stuck there together all the time until she finds out, like, yo, you're here because you're kind of crappy. And then he does like, well, he had did this horrible thing she didn't know about when she found out. She blocked him, right? So spiritually, when you block somebody, they can see you all the time. Like in the astral, their spirit can see you, but you can't see them. They don't exist to you. This is like block, like So the whole time you just see this guy on the other side trying to talk to the woman he loves because that's the only person that ever made him feel seen or understood him, which is a tragic, tragic tale. But he can see her all the time and try to talk to her, but that show is kind of sad. I didn't even think about that. It was supposed to be horrifying, but that was a very, very smooth move for me to understand what the Earth's broken heart chakra is. And the fact that we were talking about Inky, guys. So Inky is the snake. In his mind, Eve was supposed to be his wife. Lilith was supposed to be Adam's wife. They took his wife, the snake's wife, Eve, from him to make sure that Adam had one so that humanity would be brought into existence. And that the Anunnaki, because that's where Inky's name came from, right? Would in the future be able to come back through ancestors or descendants of their own bloodline, which is once again what I was saying about being able to jump into the NPC or the people who are just like background characters in the game bodies. Like, create your own bloodline like virtual villagers, then come back 3,000 years later when they have developed more so that you are actually a energetic match for the body that's the reincarnation of you. So you just wake up one morning and I am smart as hell, but you was never that smart before. No, it's because your car, your human vehicle, now has a onboard driver. It was an autopilot. The problem with this is there are women who are locked into princess programming or that dark feminine dominatrix type programming, right? Princess programming, I'm going to say it makes you obsessively seek a relationship, but it's to start a family to pass on this whole God of Semen thing. And y'all can read this. This is under Inky's Army on your own and be very intrigued, right? But pretty much, to put this simply, the whole galaxy existed in peace. I'm going to break this down real as easy as I think I can. The whole galaxy existed in peace. Everybody had their role, but there was a fight over whether Earth should be used for the further development of dinosaurs. Yes, Jurassic Park, y'all. Or humans. It was decided by Merlin. Yes, that Merlin, who has a bigger role up there than he had on Earth. That was just like a fragment. He's a teacher, the one that teaches all of us magic creation, an early incarnation of Christ, right? So it's decided that humanity had more of a potential to develop into a conscious society. That's the goal. What we hope doesn't happen with AI, but I kind of feel like it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how long. And that's becoming a sentient being on your own. They wanted to see if humans could go from these pretty much blank slates into functioning, thriving communities, which we have done. Although the planet looks like we sort of beat it up right now, we're supposed to be getting pushed to fix it together. Now, this is another test for us all. More Aquarius stuff, right? So the being, Inky, and at that time you can call him Samael, was upset about his dinosaurs that got moved to a constellation that was named Draco, or ended up being named Draco, right? When he gets over there, he pretty much takes his dinosaurs and turns them into this army, right? He's a creator. The army is of like velociraptor mixed with the human design, horrifying reptilians with wings, right? Because you got to include the angelic thing. So those flying monkeys of his went with him across the galaxy and beat up every single colony because nobody knew how to fight yet. So you can say he invented fighting. From these colonies, those he did not, and I'm getting Thanos in my head. I didn't even see any of the Avengers movies, but just keep that in your mind for if some of y'all did. Goes through every colony, destroys everything that is not of value to him, keeps the people who are gifted in some way, shape, or form along with the royalty so that he can experiment in order to make his army better. And this is done through DNA splicing and breeding and like marriage to blend. But marriage was never originally about two people coming together because they were in love. It was to make sure that the one person was property. It was to have legal spiritual right to that person's energy. We did not originally even have spouses like that. That's why a lot of the like older king and queen things were siblings. Nobody was nobody was really marrying anybody. We were all sovereign. So the issue down here on earth is whatever programming was put on you or your bloodline in the astral when you were entered into that draconic system, because remember, I just taught y'all this week, the draconic chart is your actual soul design and your like your birth chart or your birth certificate from the stars. Like this is who you are. That's how I'm able when we do these sessions for me to look at your chart and say, oh, hey, old girl. And I can tell you your name and then I can give you some stuff and you'll look at it and be like, holy crap, that reminds me of now because it's still you. You just got edited into this different version of yourself here. You had to live out a new storyline with the same ingredients that you used to have. I will always reference the butterfly effect for you to better understand this, but think of it through lifetimes. Cloud Atlas just popped in my head as a movie that would also help you to understand this. So while the females were put into those types of programs, or dark mother, which means that you are abusive feminine so that you beget other abusive feminines in different ways. Is it called Mommy Dearest? The No More Wire Hangers movie, that is an example of somebody that would have had dark mother programming on it. It's like a mother that's jealous of her own child or is willing to sell her own child. Just like a selfish, narcissistic mother. That's what a dark mother programming is. And you can look up the programming on this website as well under misery programs, because that's pretty much what they put on us, guys. Just different ways to make us miserable. If you don't understand that concept, check out The Good Place. All you need is the first season. You can even, when I mention these things to you guys, I'm a big fan of Cliff Notes. Like when I was in high school and I found out, because my dad was in college at the time, that there was a such thing as Cliff Notes because I would look at his textbooks and stuff. I started using them for my stuff. Like I need these Cliff Notes. Go on YouTube and look up a certain movie or whatever explained. Watch a bunch of them so you can understand the whole film. If you can't sit through a movie, I mean, you ain't got no time, but you want to understand the concept. So don't ever be afraid to cheat. And if it like draws your attention and you like can't stop thinking about it, then you probably need to go through the trouble of watching the whole thing because there's something about it that is targeted for you. That's another thing. Whatever programming was put on you, it gets triggered through the different programs that you're seeing here because they're all pulling from the collective consciousness, like the one big internet stream that everybody is pulling from. And sometimes the memories resonate with you because you might have had time that you spent in Atlantis or wherever the case may be. Earlier today, I got, if you are really drawn to a film, like triggered by it, go find out who wrote it and look up that person's like birth chart. Like you can create somebody's birth chart just by entering their birth date and location and see how it affects your chart in what's called synastry. The things that there are conjunctions or trines to, it probably triggered you and you were like, this feels nostalgic. If it's a square or a opposition, you're gonna feel like triggered, like bothered. But looking at the person who wrote that film or persons who wrote that film will help you understand what it was trying to trigger within you. Imagine you're in a video game trying to get your memory back like escape room. So the whole place just keeps magnetizing your memory back to you until you say, hold on, I think I'm such and such. Like your identity has been in your face the whole time. You just didn't get it because you didn't know you had an identity. Everything was a coincidence. You already told yourself who you were, especially if you're an artist. It's in your work. You have to go back through like, hey, what is this? Like in my case, before now, I told you guys I was a wedding photographer. That's the first career that I had that was just like not me just doing a job just because. But what did? I help people take care of their wedding day. I capture the moment on their wedding day. Sometimes I help plan out the day. I did all the sorts of different things that you could do in weddings. I liked being around the energy of love and couples, and I talked to them in between time just to help them through the stress of the wedding. Then when the wedding was over, I would magically disappear from their lives like a wedding or a love fairy. So whatever you're doing here, you're doing somewhere else. That was your job. That's your position. And you're just in a modern, like updated version. Like, ooh, for instance, if you were Harriet Tubman, imagine those soul points for helping that many people make it out of slavery. That meant something, right? So you'd probably come back in this life and you'd have a platform where you spoke things to free people. It would be the same thing in remix. So for the people or the guys that were a part of Enki's army, which is why this whole page is important, they were decapitated, but like in a way that it was from their heart. Like, I know somebody on my page told me there's a vampire show that goes into this, but I don't know the name of it. If you do know the name, please put it down there. But they removed the connection between the upper chakras and the lower chakras so that every time they generated, they would be stuck down here, but that made them very Game of Thrones, very Viking. If you want to go back to like the first civilizations, remember, cavemen, I'm pretty sure they really did just hit somebody over the head and just drag them and take what they had to take. It seems to be like people, or that energy is just learning that you can't just take somebody's pocketbook like that, right? They've been developing over time, but it's because they have this heart block. The thing that's about to come up is the heart's opening with this North Node in Pisces because it's a clearing from the crown, right? Imagine putting a whole bunch of energy from God trying to talk to you that you never heard all that time, and then one day there's breakthrough. A lot of people who had this programming put on them, and it really looks like it's masculine energy, guys, because it's like something's carried in the semen, or you spread like something in the semen. I'm telling you, you just have to read that because I was like, what? I'm still trying to spread the seed and I'm literally on that. Spread the seed, have sex with as many people as possible, promote polyamorous situations. Anything that goes against the nuclear family structure, which is two parents connected to source, right? And then the children underneath that. This is like, make sure there's a bunch of adults all intertwined together so the children never get a solid formula to grow off of. That's more the tree of chaos way of thinking. So that's all that Enki programming is. Create masculine energies who are very intelligent and good at persuading people. And oh, let me show y'all that part. So that one day they will come online and be Pied Pipers. So they went through a lot of trauma too. Imagine being put under mind control and forced to hurt the people that you used to love in your other constellations and timelines together. When the time comes for you to begin healing, to start feeling your past life memories, especially this heart chakra thing, right? I got earlier, the only thing that goes with you from lifetime to lifetime is your consciousness. So all of this other stuff is a dream, what you physically feel, but what your mind deems is real, what happens to the psyche and the consciousness goes through everybody. As soon as you log into a body and you begin your human experience, the first thing you do is put your consciousness through the chakra so you can feel like that's the VR thing that keeps you in the body. And at night, you detach from them and go about your business. But that energy of your mind, if you are in a car accident and that's how you leave, when you get in the next life, your consciousness that just logged into this body is going to be a little bit cautious about driving. Okay, that mind energy goes from lifetime to lifetime. So that's why the damage being psychological and mind control on the soul makes sure that we come back and do the same thing again and again. I just shared with y'all yesterday, and this is so wild while I'm doing this with you guys. Like, because I don't know what's going to come through, but this is awesome. I'm gaining appreciation for my own gifts and how much it's going to be, what's going on, and how to help yourself. So in this case, The brain is the labyrinth. Keep in mind, that's where all your thought processes, how you are going to do stuff over and over and over. Goes. Hi, guys. No, I didn't. I just wanted to say hi because I love y'all. I'll let y'all know when I'm done. So your thought process is stemming from your psyche, and the maze that you were caught in is being your mind. Hey, boo boo. Oh, yeah. You good? What happened to your hand?
Oh, it's just for my healthcare class.
Oh, I thought you were hurt. I was like, oh, somebody got to die.
I wouldn't let that slide.
Okay. All right. Love you. Have fun. Oh, please don't be back too late.
Huh?
Don't be back too late. Trash, or at least one of the bags.
Okay.
Okay. So, sorry. Love those guys. So, if you were stuck in the same storyline over and over again, eventually that's going to wear you down till you're just like depressed, especially in the case of these Pied Pipers, right? So, because not everybody is going to be with somebody who's in a position of power, right? But imagine somebody who like runs the local church, that's a position of power. Somebody who was the manager here and there. So anybody, any masculine that was a part of Inky's army that rose up the ranks, like there are legions, people that just go, the followers, right? But then there are people who lead these different groups of followers in all different areas. Just some people who really fan a particular person. They had a moment, like, hold on. So everybody's programming is coming back online, right? The message I was getting that is that for some masculines, it's going to be really hard because when their hearts come back online, they're not going to want to feel that. They're going to go the opposite way and try to run from it to keep it closed because the feeling of light coming through is too much. But the masculine energy is what needs to be healed in anybody that was a part of Inky's army, because the tragic love song or bittersweet symphony we are in stems from his upset as the main programmer or controller of this game, right? So all the guys, this is the royalty from the other, like the constellations, like we're talking Pleiades, the Arcturians. He took all the best people, all the smartest, all the scientists, and made sure that they had some sort of programming on them that took whatever they were originally good for, their skill, but also there's a distortion on it that makes them always go into dissension. Typically, trauma that is re-triggered during childhood, so that it's something in the back of their mind that they keep perpetuating and they don't know why. Like they might have a feeling, but they're powerless to stop it, is what I'm getting. That is important for what's coming up because a bunch of people are coming online, like I've been talking about for months, right? But those who are a part of Inky's army will do sort of like what, I hate to pinpoint anybody, but examples, there are examples. What just happened with Nick Cannon? Like he had this whole life where he was like, he had only been married to one person. His life was very much this. He's about his business. Then suddenly he has a bunch of kids, but also the way that he expresses himself and all that stuff is different going forward. That would be an example of somebody that I believe would have Inky programming on him. But I mean, look at who his one wife was, right? She would definitely be a queen in her voice. If this is about music, if this is about song, and let me show y'all that on the screen just to bring this together, because we are talking about Mr. Song. Where is it at? Don't you play with me? Ooh, it's a good thing I shared. Did I share it? History. You're gonna pop up. This. Zoe and Sophia controlled a Satan figure who controlled others with the musical worship. The female instructing principal was taken away from the snake. Didn't they took his wife? They took his wife. They made him have a sad song. I didn't remember that. That female instructing principal was taken away from the snake. There is a video on Spirit Science that recently came out, right? The War on Consciousness. I pretty much advise y'all to watch that to understand what I am telling y'all today. So, How He Ensnared the World was a song. It's not what that says, but it's like if everybody's different frequency waves of light, your piece of light got put into the symphony and it's all playing right now. It would sound like a rock song. It would sound like chaos. It would sound like discord. Is Bittersweet Symphony considered rock? It's soft rock. I don't know. Okay, but there's a part in this video where it says that the reason he entrapped everybody was because his power to create came through the Holy Spirit, and his fear of the Holy Spirit leaving him or going away from him is what made him put distortions into the system so that no one could leave it or nobody could overcome. The female instructing principle was taken away from the snake here, who controlled others with musical worship. So now we're back to Pied Piper's, guys. But it doesn't even have to just be singing. It's those that use their voice, the frequency, the sound to control their legions within a human body. This was a lot, huh? The importance of the heart is the light is about to come through everybody regardless. Those who run from it or can't handle the opening of their heart or getting their memories back, or this could even be like the same as somebody in this life thinking about all the wrong they've done and the people they hurt because they technically had to relive it in some sort of loop. This is somebody being faced with themselves, seeing their own reflection through their own like eyes, good or bad. If they decide to spiral, which is go back down, instead of embracing self-forgiveness, which is the key to this, right? Love yourself as God loves you. Some people can't believe that God would love them and forgive them of everything they've done, like everything they've done, because they can't forgive themselves. They think about how other people look at you like, damn, if I looked at me from outside myself, I would think I was a horrible person. Like that sort of energy. So you think that you can't talk to God or you can't be forgiven. So it blocks you and it makes you stay here longer because you don't want to face God. So those people descend into Luciferianism, and that's separate from all. It gave me Hugh Hefner, but was I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he wasn't still a nice guy at the end. Maybe he wasn't a nice guy the whole time. Maybe we just only saw him when he was super old. Things to think on, right? But that's the type of energy we're talking about, guys. Like a man's man. Every woman wants to be with him because he's great, and then every guy wants to be him because his life looks amazing. But on a smaller scale, this is just somebody who is a member. This could be military, people in psychology. I know there's some people in psychology because if this being took the smartest and the finest from every constellation, that's every type of talent. That's politics, that's everything. They're everywhere. All of this is somehow explaining what's going on in the state of the world right now, which I was trying not to touch on, and I put these glasses on to avoid, but it's nice to know that the glasses just made me feel like, oh, it's smart time. It's just a mental thing. Because if I get on here and talk to y'all about this, it's about to be ratchet. I have to be respectful of all of this, people's hearts in general, because that's what the fight is on, what the war is on. Your heart chakra. So, if you don't want to face seeing thyself, which seems to be a big test. Is Pisces in charge of mirrors? I know it's in charge of reflections and illusions. What was on the bottom here? Another heart. Ew. So what's this one? That's a real I'm reading the message. Like, hold on. Somebody trying to walk away is giving somebody else anxiety. I might need to put these back on. Wait, what? Is this a Sophia reference? That would be no more good. Okay, so that really jacked me up just now. So, okay, sometimes the person that you are paired with in your chart is the person whose heart you are helping to fix, but also understand that this person could be the person who's been responsible for having you captured here the whole time. We didn't have spouses, and the programming to control and dominate was put on the men. The original structure had the women at home all the time, but not because they were supposed to clean the house and bear the children and all that stuff. It's because they were captive brides. The guys went out and did all the work because they couldn't risk letting the women out because they were trying to escape. That's horrifying, right? But the person that you've been paired with, or the people that you have been paired with, are the technical, the masculines that you got moved through. And that's probably the best way I can say that. I mean, for some people, there's a chance that you got married in because you had some sort of value or some skill or some sort of gift. I would imagine that would be like the royalty or the like geniuses, anybody with something specific going on in their like bloodline. But that means everybody else just sort of got like paired up with members of the Martian Army. I would say watch the human history movie, hidden human history movie on Spirit Science also. Like look for it. It's worth it on there. Because it talks about everything that happened before Eden and then it catches you up. We've been lied to about our history. And even further so, it just appears that captive brides goes along with that thing I just pulled up when I said about Sophia and Zoe. And I closed the tab again. Damn. So, what do I want to make of this message? It's still, hold on, I did a message like this similarly recently that was just pretty much saying that, like, feminine energy is supposed to be healing broken hearts. What if that was the design for love the whole time? To go from being completely separate as individuals, masculine, feminine, like the Barbie movie, like Barbie and Ken, completely separate boy, girl, right? And then going through all these wild and crazy motions and evolution until we discover that we have a purpose with each other and we work better together than apart. And then we return back to the Godhead, which is made of both. I just started hearing like closing time. So you get back with a piece and pair up and go off. Your torturer becoming your remedy. And that's like Beyonce all night long or something. It's a tragic case, but that's sort of kind of what like this seems like the antidote. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of pressure. But I mean, I guess if you've already been doing it with the same soul for thousands of years, and this is just like the last one, like, all right, last hurrah. Because this absolutely all has to do with the masculine energy, because Michael was at the bottom. That's the core component. He who is like God, the one who has like the avatar for God. If God was able to walk around with a body and have all his intelligence and his logos, he would be Michael, just a broken down piece of God, like the first body he created to see what he could do in it. But this is the higher version of the morning star or the evening star. This is the morning star. That's the evening star. Below, that was the chaos version, the version created in darkness, who was only able to see the light that was Sophia's light because he was just born in the dark. He was just the shadow, like Peter Pan. He was just the shadow. The shadow doesn't want to let go of the light. So the light also has the ability to heal the hearts and make a difference. Oh, I think I'm sort of getting like, I don't know if this is like a good example, y'all, but like the first lady, like somebody who would be a complete tyrant in a meltdown isn't going to be a complete tyrant because this power is still going to be standing there. Now, the levels of which these different powers kick in may vary, but it is absolutely no question that in the event that a lot of these masculines are left alone to deal with their own stuff, it's not pretty much going to be good for anybody. I mean, think about it. Who's the main people going off to war? And even just in this moment, caring connections and love. The world needs love. But even that feels like, no, it's not the world needs love. It's the guys need love. And ain't that crazy? I was about to sleep through even with my glasses on. Because they can't forgive themselves because looking in the feminine face, the feminine won't forgive them also. In some ways. How do women feel towards masculines right now? If you think of us as two different bodies, if one body is all the masculine energy in the world and one is all the feminine energy in the world, they're looking at each other. What are they saying to each other right now? What is Venus saying to Mars about the experience that they have had in male-female relationships on this planet, especially knowing that it stemmed from, I came to visit you and you never let me go home again. What happens when you wake up and that's the storyline? Like, yo, this whole time I thought you were my husband. You were my captor until you until you made me believe I was your wife. So what becomes of things after that? So this was really interesting. Love chit-chatting with y'all. I guess this is girl talk. Like everybody can watch it, but this is definitely like, ladies, how do we feel about this? And this is all the ladies. Because another part of the misery programming was to make sure that sometimes the bodies are in the wrong suit or sleeve. Like sometimes you are a male and you're born in a female body. It was just to make you feel uncomfortable. Like this hell thing and all the traps and tricks that were put in here are just like out of pocket. So on the Ascension Glossary, you look under misery programming, right? That's what you search. And if you go on my website, channeling-angels.com, there is a book that is my ebook that explains every single distortion that is available on the zodiac. We are all comprised of the different ingredients available within those 360 degrees, right? Every 5 degrees is ruled by a specific angel and a specific shadow. That book, you can come in, that book breaks down the top and the lower half, and you can look at the degrees on your placements to find out which ones are a part of your design. If that is too much for you and you're not an avid astrologer, you can go with the activation where I break it down for you. There's a video that comes along with it, a whole like little 45-minute breakdown of everything I said here, but like in a more organized presentation way. But each degree in your chart is broke down so you can understand how it comes through you. It's just all about knowledge of self is the only way to win the game because you have to go in order to get out because we're stuck in a brain puzzle. So thanks, guys. Have a great day.